Welcome to another fantastic event discussing the
If you push
Singularity
consent
at
and you
Immersed
agree
Minds.
to everything, Nikki, come on.
Hello.
Like, what do you expect? I'm sorry. Exactly. All your rights belong
With
to
our
us.
wonderful host, GillFX. Give it up for
Oh,
GillFX.
our live. Okay,
Yeah,
retweet.
we're
Okay,
live.
first of all, everybody, you go and retweet this tweet. There's a
Yeah.
live stream happening on Somnium Space account on Twitter. Please go and retweet that. Okay, let's all do it. 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Share the news.
Where did that video
Who'll be
go?
first?
Oh,
Who'll be first to
okay.
retweet, huh? Who'll be the first to retweet? Who will be the first to retweet?
It will be
I am.
me. Shit.
All right. So it's retweeted. It's running. We already have some viewers. It's time to educate them about what is happening here, because they might be lost. Hello, viewers. Hi. We are live inside Somnium Space at the OMG World, and next to me is GillFX, Artific, and together with us on Zoom, there are a bunch of people, but our main guest today is Alex, and he is a neuroscientist. And I guess GillFX, you can introduce the event. Ultra, if you can maybe put the camera like here so that everybody can be seen.
Of course.
Not only us. Just like this corner. This corner is perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Oh,
It's good.
I hear myself. It's fine. Yeah. Thank you everyone for coming. So today, apart from discussing about interesting stuff we know about AI in the last week, we have a very interesting guest, Alex from Neural Echo Labs, who works in the intersection of BCI and gaming. So he has this project to develop that intersection, and I think that's something that is gonna be very relevant in the future. I don't know if you guys heard, but like Neuralink recently got FDA approved. I think another company called Paradromics as well. So things are going in the area of connecting our brains to computers. So like I think it will be very interesting to see what stuff we can do with that stuff. So yeah, Arthur, I think we should let Alex introduce himself,
Absolutely.
and then he has like a short presentation he wants to also give, and then we can like discuss about it.
All right, Alex, the floor is yours. Welcome to our next time in VR, Alex. But welcome to our meeting. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks for the warm welcome. I would have loved to be an avatar as well, but I'm on a Mac, so there are limits. But yeah, well, what can I tell you about myself that I don't ruin the presentation just yet? I run Neural Echo Labs. We're a bunch of really, I'm not that cool, but all the other people in Neural Echo Labs, they're really cool. And that's what we're doing. We're progressing towards uniting brain-computer interfaces with gaming and virtual worlds. So the point is there to bring what advancements have been done in the medical field, to bring them into the more mass market use cases and let everyone enjoy the magic of thought control and reading your mind and telepathy and everything else that we've read in books and seen in films. That's in short.
All right, cool. And where are you based?
That's going to be part of the presentation.
Okay. All right. Okay, cool. So I guess if you want to kick off the presentation, you can start.
Yeah, can I would like to share my screen, but it's disabled.
Aha. It's always this, how do I do it? 1 second. Make host, no. Allow record, no.
Like on
But
share
anyways,
screen,
is-
there's little arrow. You click it, and there's enable. The share
Is there a
screen.
way to like left?
Yeah, but this
I
is
mean,
this
right
is
click on this browser?
No,
apps, basic. No, I don't think there's share screen. Multiple participants can share simultaneously. Okay, try now, Alex.
Starting share screen will stop others' computer sound share.
Don't
Do I want to continue? Well, I'm just going to click continue and
Just
hope for the
click
best.
continue. We'll
Yeah.
try to survive that.
All right.
All right.
Are
Okay,
we
oops. Wait.
rolling? Everything?
Yeah, all good.
Everything cool?
Perfect.
Yeah. So again, it's great. It's actually an honor to be here. I looked a lot of you up, and I've seen that you're a bunch of visionary people that basically use their imagination, and after that they take action to put that imagination into reality, and that takes a lot of courage, because mostly we fail and then trying again and again to make it happen. I admire that, and that's why I feel very comfortable among you, I think. Let's see how it goes.
Love you too, Alex. Welcome, welcome.
Yeah.
Say hi to
yeah.
Alex, everybody. Come on.
Hi, Alex.
Yeah.
So as I was saying, I would have loved to get. So I went to making Somnium Space PC on my Mac. I would have loved to be able to be an avatar right now, but I can't. But this is what I try to do, and just bear with me a bit because it's all gonna make sense in a while. So from OS X, I could install a Parallels desktop, which basically is a container for Windows. And inside Windows, I could install Somnium Space 2D. So I tried this. I ended up with a black screen. I figured it doesn't work. But even if it would have worked, this doesn't really make much sense. Like, this isn't the way things should go. Like, my keystrokes would go to OS X, then to Parallels, then to Windows, then to Somnium Space, and then all back again. So it's all going to make sense in a bit, but I'll move on. Just as an intro, as I was saying, Neural Echo Labs, all cool people, and then me. I was born in Romania, close to the border with Ukraine. I'm in Romania right now, but I spent a few years in an orphanage. Then my adoptive parents, my real parents, kind of rebooted my life, and I went through computer science, video production, AI research, 3D visual effects, and ended up basically evangelizing brain-computer interfaces for the mass market. And which brings us to the brain-computer interfaces. Now, obviously, when they started, they had like 100 years history with the first EEGs, I think in the 1920s or some time then. But obviously, their first use case was the medical use cases, and most of it was for paralyzed patients, locked-in patients, and it's really cool to see the actual history going year by year with what has been achieved. We'll take, and this is big shout out to Sam from UCAT app, because he already made an overview of what BlackRock Neurotech did for Imagine movements. We'll take them as an example, because if you think about how movement is actually being made, the brain generates an electrical impulse that travels from the motor cortex to different parts of the body and activates muscles. Based on a harmony of muscle activation, the movement is made. That's it's amazing how it's done. But what happens when the actual target muscle or the pathway, the neural pathway, is damaged? Then the whole movement remains just an imagination. It's just like imagining you're flying, but nothing happens because, well, we can't fly yet. So that's where the brain-computer interface comes in place, at least in the medical industry, is to kind of replace the damaged working part that was supposed to be working, but it's not working anymore. So how they went about it at first with simple kind of 2-axis controls like ankle, wrist movement, back and forth, left and right. And this was achieved like 10 or 15 years ago, I think. Then along came virtual reality with arm movement. In this actual example here, they implanted electrodes inside the motor cortex to listen for the imagined movements. The arm was paralyzed, was not working at all, but they also implanted electrodes in the muscles of the arms. So then the electrodes from the brain were receptors, and the electrodes from the muscles were activating, or basically putting some low electrical impulse into the muscles. And this is how they managed to create arm movements and basically revive a dead arm. There's I'll show you in a bit, because there's even more cool thing than that. But then they went even more fine-grained, like how detailed can this be? Because an arm movement has a different electrical pattern than a finger movement, which is much more detailed. So then they tried finger movements, and in this particular experiment, they tried it both on monkeys and then on humans, and they achieved great results, but with invasive brain-computer interfaces. Also, BlackRock Neurotech, they went more because they went further. Because if you think about speech is also implies movement. There's obviously the kind of the lexical part, finding the words, putting them in a sentence that makes sense. Those are more abstract. But then the actual activation of the whole apparatus, that involves movement, tongue, vocal cords, jaw, and so on. But they did that as well. And they basically reproduced speech from locked-in patients. And the magic is that the locked-in patients were no longer locked in. And that's just amazing. And here again, I'm going back to a shout out to Sam from UCAT App. They're doing the same thing. Well, they're enhancing this whole procedure, and it is just mind blowing if you think about it. So yeah, as you were mentioning actually 10 minutes ago, there's been in the last few weeks, there's been great news about things like that. For example, this is a person who was paralyzed from waist down, so he couldn't move his legs at all. And what they did, they implanted electrodes inside the brain, inside the motor cortex, and he suffered a spine injury, and basically the spine was damaged at some point. And they also implanted an array of electrodes below the damaged region of the spine. And just seeing him move, it doesn't matter if it's with a frame right now but it's amazing. And if you actually are going to hear him speak, he's going to say how amazing it was to feel in 2 days from the surgery, he started moving his hips. And then, basically he's doing something that he would never have expected to do with this. And it's just thinking about this, it's amazing. But obviously it's not just about paralyzed people, and it's not just about basically replacing damaged neural pathways. In the medical industries, they use brain-computer interfaces for neurofeedback as well, which basically assessing your mental state, let's say, through different paradigms. The brain waves of our brains are theoretically classified or split into 6 frequency bands, each of them being active more or less at different times in our daily routine. And based on those frequency bands, they kind of give you some sort of feedback on how your mind is feeling. This is amazing as well because, like, for everything else, you kind of have a visual feedback, something that you can trust and you can rely on. But for the mind, it's very subjective. It's left to your own interpretation to know how you're feeling. If you're anxious, if you're focused, if you're calm, and so on. So based on this paradigm, they've been able to design some procedures for people with ADHD. And I understand that in the US, it's actually a tier 1 type of medical, not procedure, but like medical help. It's being used actively with children with ADHD. And yeah, for stroke rehabilitation, because stroke also involves like damaging parts of your brain, especially when it happens near the motor cortex, then the rest of the brain will have to. It's funny because after a stroke, there's an increased brain plasticity happening. So basically, the brain realizes it fucked up somehow, and it starts a window where brain plasticity is at its highest, like when we were kids. So then it can relearn, I don't know, things about keeping your balance, things about moving, things about extending arms, and so on. But yeah, that's also quite
Can you let me in Zoom again?
frightening for people with that had strokes, and
Started
brain-computer
here.
interfaces coming to
Yeah, I'm
kind
letting
of
you in. Sorry.
no problem, coming to kind of help them and encourage them by giving them feedback and
I
giving them
dropped off.
more, giving them a way to actually see what they're doing. All right, so that was a very short overview of what's happening inside laboratories, and again, all of it is based on the great work that has been done until now in laboratories, universities, and hospitals. But so what about the virtual world, and how can we apply this, and can we apply this at all? Well, my idea about gaming and virtual world, and I think a lot of gamers think the same, is that like I played World of Warcraft for a few years, a lot of time, and I basically end up being the character, and I want the character to become me. So it's my mirror inside the virtual world. But what I found is that how we interact with our characters, that's basically the keyword. We're interacting with them. They're not us, in the sense of I have to control my character like a Muppet. I have to guide him. I have to press keys whenever I want them to move, whenever I want them to react in some way, whenever, basically it's a Muppet. It's not my virtual self that's inside the game world. And I chose World of Warcraft because, yeah, for me it was about the virtual self. Like at first I was the mage, then I was the priest, then I was druid or something. I can't remember, but it was just like, it was basically mirroring what I wanted from a virtual world. And a virtual world is supposed to be limitless, right? And this is where I come back to to my experience early on with installing the Somnium Space PC client. This is how we control the virtual self right now. So the brain activates the muscles in the hand, which activate a bunch of input methods, be it keyboards, mice, or I don't know, even hand tracking, which then end up activating the avatar. And this doesn't make sense. I mean, it's the way we've been used to for 50 years, because that was what was accessible at that point. But once we get this right, this doesn't make sense anymore. It shouldn't be like that. It should be like this. It should be straight over. And obviously now comes the question, if only we had a way of reading what our brain wants, reading brain signals and transferring them directly to the computer, right, through the virtual world. Well, it turns out this is what brain-computer interfaces do. And if we, well, humbly take what's been done in the medical fields and transport them into the virtual world, we end up with almost the same use case, because the point is that we're uniting a virtual self, which is right now completely detached from us, with our mind. And in a lot of medical interventions, this is what was done with the real self, with a material body. So this, for example, is a brain-computer interface implementation in World of Warcraft. And this is more simplistic. It uses one of the frequency bands I was telling you about, the alpha one, to kind of detect if you are calm or, well, less calm. And based on that, the druid, which is a shapeshifter in World of Warcraft, changes between the form of a bear, which is a tank, or its form of a ranged attacker. Then also in World of Warcraft, you kind of see the pattern about World of Warcraft here. But they also implemented what I was talking about, imagine movements. And this was quite a few years ago. Well, the other one was a paper that was even like 10 years ago. But this one was quite a few years ago as well. And they implemented a way of moving around in World of Warcraft. Obviously, the picture in the corner is not a pretty sight for gamers but this is what we're trying to do, to make things more accessible for gamers and bringing it into the gaming homes. So basically, this is what is happening. The electrodes are going to an amplifier, which amplifies the signal. Because it's non-invasive, it goes through the skull, and that's where it loses a lot of signal, and also loses a lot of clarity, because the skull starts diffusing the signal. But if only we would have some sort of, I don't know, big black boxes where we can feed a lot of data and hope that it will finally figure out how to make better interpretations than ourselves from it. That was the question, and obviously the answer is the advancements of AI and machine learning in the last few years are just mind-blowing, and that's basically what will make this happen and will make this a reality. So other than that, obviously there's a lot of different games being, there's a lot of pioneers actually that build plugins or adapt brain-computer interfaces which are used for I don't know, better sleep or better focus, and they adapt them, they kind of glue them together with tape for new use cases inside gaming, inside, I don't know, from Space Invaders to Elden Ring. This is, by the way, her name is Perry Carial. She has a Twitch channel, and she streams almost daily about her experiences with an emotive brain-computer interface device and Elden Ring, which I understood she done the game with it. Yeah, but okay, so everything is very exciting, but the truth is there are a lot of challenges. And I stumbled upon this clip while searching for a specific challenge, and this person is playing StarCraft, which is also one of my favorite games from a million years ago. But look at his hands, and I was definitely not playing it like them. But the thing is, with non-invasive brain-computer interfaces, probably in my lifetime, or okay, maybe in the next 20, 15 years, we wouldn't be able to achieve such a fine detail and such fast response times to be able to reproduce exactly all the finger movements he's doing right now. But my view is that, well, and making an analogy with what happens in speech reproduction, my view is that we don't need to reproduce every word to be able to reproduce a sentence from a locked-in patient. But using large language models, for example, we can reproduce an idea and basically have an abstract idea of what they would be trying to say. So then this is the same. Like if you take his individual movements as words, they basically end up going towards a more abstract idea. And if we apply the same rationale, we will definitely be able to if not achieve exactly the same thing, to offer a good replacement for that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying I don't think this is natural. And yeah, basically, there's a lot of challenges here. There's accuracy improvements that need to be done. There's speed improvements that need to be done. And I think the thing that I fear most as I don't know, as a hopeful product maker in this space is that maybe gamers are not going to like it. And that's why I think that's a healthy thing after all, because that's why we strive to make products that people like, right? To make products that people will end up buying and maybe not be adopted by billions at first, but actually getting those the believers, getting them to buy them and evangelizing them further on. And basically, yeah, my view is that this will forever change human-computer interaction. And even if it's being done all of the sudden by, I don't know, EA Sports, EA Games, or some really big meta company, or if it's done by us through emerging markets and disruptive technologies, it will be done. And the future is in this. And that's what we're doing at Neural Echo Labs. I hope we'll make a product that people will love as much as I love it in my imagination. Cool.
Nice.
Nice.
Ooh. Wow. Thank you so much. That
No,
was
I will
that
stop sharing my
was
screen now.
that was super cool. So yeah, I mean, like, so now I wanna
And,
like open
everyone
it.
is.
I have a
I can't
question.
hear anything.
So this
Oh,
Is
product,
anyone
ca-
speaking?
is it gonna...
I have a
Can
question.
can he hear us? That's
Yeah, you're
Well-
muted. You're muted on Zoom, I think. I see you. You're muted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
unmute
no,
yourself,
by
bro.
me, I don't mean me. I mean,
I muted.
I sort of
Yeah,
meant
the other people.
because
No.
Oh,
If they will be
Arthur
connected.
left. Okay.
Yeah, you're,
No.
He was
Hello,
listening
can you
to
hear me?
Arthur, or Arthur is not here.
Yeah. Exactly. He was listening through Arthur. So, but like, I can try like
You
screen
can
Well, I
share
repeat it.
in Somnium.
I really hope I hear what people think about this, because yeah, like, you're the visionaries as well, and I want to hear your thoughts.
There we go. I think
Yo,
I'm sharing now.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yo, what's up? What's up?
Yo, what's up?
Yo, bro. Okay, so what do you think about people sticking wires up their nose and having direct simulation of the brain? Do you think it's a possibility?
Well, to stimulate your brain or to read from your brain.
Yeah, to basically stick a wire up your nose, and then kind of stimulate the brain through that way. Like,
I mean, you can definitely stimulate the brain without sticking a wire up your nose. That's done with no. I mean, it's not. It wasn't supposed to be funny, because there are ways of electrically or magnetically stimulating brain. But I think that's definitely something to close the loop eventually. But I think that's a bit more risky than what we're doing.
is it even like a possibility? Like, would it
Just a little
even
bit.
work out? Could you stick a wire and stimulate someone's brain directly through that?
Definitely.
Really?
Definitely. Yeah.
Wow. Hey, that's good to know. Thank you, man. Alex.
So your
I don't know.
product,
I don't know.
in the brain? Does it go in the brain? Your product? Does it go in the like directly through the skull to the brain, or is it like a little hat?
No, that's a very good point. It's a headset. So basically, the electrodes just touch the skin of the skull of the head. They don't go into the brain. We thought about it, but surgery for gamers, I think that would be pushing it a bit too much. So right now we're using the non-invasive approach.
I have a question. How long can you wear that?
Is it because of the physical appearance or because of?
I'm assuming it has some type of stress to the brain with the waves or the electromagnetic wave that it's using. So how long can somebody use the machine and not get a headache, for example?
Yeah, well, I mean, from the point of view of the stress to the brain, nothing comes from the device to the brain. It's only a receptor of the brain.
Only read.
Yes,
Okay.
but your question has a good point in the sense of we're not used to, well, thinking focused for a long time. Like if you're saying you're going to study or you're going to work for 2 hours, that's not really true. You're going to work for maybe 1 hour, 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off, and so on and so forth. But yeah, as a continuous activity, it would definitely not be a full day activity type of activity at first.
Right. Oh, amazing work.
Really nice.
Thank you.
I just want to say that I really love it when comedians start off with a premise, go some other places, and always come back. And your Mac to Somnium, and then to tie that in later on in the presentation, I thought was brilliant.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Did it make sense though? I mean, was it worth it?
It did.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, you had mentioned that it would come up in the presentation, and I sat and kind of waited to see when that was going to come back, and it was perfectly done.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I mean, I had like an obvious question given where we are, which is like, do you think what you're building will also be useful in VR? And if so, like how do you envision that?
Absolutely. So in my short 1 minute in Somnium Space web, which from what I saw, it's a different thing, and it doesn't include this. But I saw, and I remembered from Second Life and other type of pre-metaverses, pre-spaces like this, that again we're controlling our representation in the virtual world by pressing a few arrow keys to move left, right, and so on. It's also about, well, now we have haptic suits, now we have treadmills, now we have body tracking. So I actually had an argument about this on the Thrill Seekers Discord server with somebody who says, there's always going to be somebody, but they say, what's the use of a brain-computer interface when we have all these other tools to represent us inside the virtual space, be it a VR world or be it a game? And I'm not saying it replaces because there's a need. What I view it is that in order for me to be represented, like the real me, the me inside my mind, to be represented inside the virtual world, I need a virtual self there. I have a virtual body. So the most sense for me is that my mind controls the virtual body as it controls my real body. And then other than that, I can do everything else. So from movement to gestures, as we saw, hand gestures are also detected with non-invasive stuff. And yeah, movement, gestures, even type of reaction. Maybe if you want to show a person, because right now maybe if I'm anxious, I start sweating. You won't ever be able to see that on an avatar. But if we analyze my brainwaves, we could make that avatar sweat. And if you are willing to show it, then you can show that as well, right?
Sweaty naked avatar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you seen Black Mirror?
I've seen Black Mirror, yeah.
What about the episode Striking Vipers? The one where these two friends are putting this thing on the side of their temple, and then they go into this game, and it's completely real. Is that what it's gonna be like? Is that what you?
Eventually, I bet that's what is going to be like. Because, I mean, to be honest, I'm not sure this is not something like that as well. I don't know if we're a bunch of energy balls inside some machines and we're just looking for emotion, right? And we are looking for some sort of
I mean, I don't have a physical body like this, and I just live in VR.
Exactly. Maybe, yeah, it's the other way around, isn't it? But no, definitely, I think the AI especially will help this go through to points where we haven't imagined yet, or where we have imagined in episodes like Black Mirror.
But I think to reach this sort of real full divergence distinguished with reality, we'll probably have to, and you probably agree, right? We probably have to be invasive at that point. Well, it's probably gonna be a rigorous call. Like, I think the nose is a bit limited, especially if you wanna reach the optical cortex, like literally on the other side. I don't think it's a good way.
It depends. I think nanotechnology will also play a role in this. And instead of actually having to go through surgery to implant some wires, you could put some nanobots up your nose, and they will find their way.
That will be even better. But like, I mean, I think in the short term, like, people are actually making invasive PCIs. Well, actually, there's this company that I want to mention specifically called Science Corporation. It's a very weird name. But like, it was made by the ex-CEO of Neuralink, actually. So Neuralink had a CEO first, and then he left. Or was it the CTO? I don't know. But he founded this other company. And the company started saying, like, we want to build a matrix. You know, we want to like tap into the whole like sensorium that goes in and out of the brain, like with brain-computer interfaces. And like basically what you're talking about, but they have to start somewhere, so they're first trying to cure blindness as the first step, which is still not.
Do you think we're living in a simulation?
I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I think it's a possibility, but I'm not so sure. I don't know. What does everyone else think?
I mean,
are we living in a
simulation? What does the word simulation mean? Is it a dream? I think a
good question.
Hallucination? What are we talking about here? You know, like, what is a simulation?
What is the echo is really tripping me out.
Yeah, it's tripping me out. This question echoing. It's like
at the same time.
Yeah, this is all part of the experience, you know.
So you can mute other people in here.
Oh no, but they're listening through me, I believe.
The magic.
Alex, I wanted to ask you, can you hear me on Zoom here?
I can hear you, Liana.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to ask you, you might have touched upon this a little bit, what inspired you to get into neural echo labs, and also to what extent have you tested these things yourself? Like, what would you say is the closest to your vision, like realizing the end goal that you've gotten? You know, like, what is the most impressive thing you've experienced with all this?
Well, I mean, for the first part of your question, I had a period where I did a lot of drugs for a couple of years. And then,
live it up, bro.
And then when that period ended, it was kind of hard for me to get back on actual being lucid again and all that. And what I did was actually through games, through video games. I was able to kind of bring back, I smoked a lot of weed doing other stuff, but then I brought back my motivation, my focus by doing what I really enjoyed and what every young person would enjoy by playing games. And after that, there came a period of kind of meditation and all that stuff. But through this kind of mixing technology with mind well-being, let's say, or mind focusing on and things like that, I started reading up a lot on brain-computer interfaces. So this was happening it started about 6-7 years ago. And as I was going more through, I worked at an AI startup that was doing digital avatars for 4 years, and I was going through the research for that. I was kind of getting more and more closer to what I envisioned brain-computer interfaces could do for. At first, I thought will make the next level of human minds. I still think that, but I think that will be a side effect of our product, not the main effect. Because yeah, nobody is really interested to be working for the next level of their minds, but they would be really interested of playing a game, just like I was really interested of playing a game.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, I will be interested in upgrading my mind.
Yeah, but that
I
needs
don't know
to
about
be
everyone
proven
else
as well.
here.
That needs proof as well. That needs FDA approval, and we
Oh,
all
for
saw
sure. Yeah.
Neuralink waited for a really long time to get that. And yeah, Elon Musk is not on board yet with us. But yeah, that's the point. And from the point of view of how close we are, we're basically working on the prototype right now. We've seen what can be achieved. We have our own kind of, it's blurry, but yeah. So this is things that we're experimenting with. We are using off the market products to figure out what we can do. But
are you trying OpenBCI? I'm curious because that looked like
that was OpenBCI, but it was a custom-made frame.
Okay.
Yeah. But we tried Neurosity Crown. We tried Mindwave from some other guys. Yeah, but the point we're trying to make is that it's not just about like the inability of neurotechnology to penetrate other markets does not stand in its inefficacy, like in its imperfection, but it stands in the approach. So every time neurotechnology was a great technology in search of a product, in search of a use case, but we want to go the other way and basically have it user-centric around gamers, around gaming. And I think this is going to be the big breakthrough we're making, because instead of creating gamified experiences of brain-computer interfaces, we're going the other way around, and we're doing the whole user experience inside gaming. I'll be really short. One problem is, for example, is that people cannot adapt their way of thinking fast enough to brain-computer interfaces. Like, just imagine how it is to think for 10 seconds about moving your arm. Like, you can move your arm for 10 seconds, that's fine, but to actually consciously thinking about it, that's a weird thing to do. But not if it's worth it. Like, people are pressing buttons on mice for League of Legends. They're pressing it so fast you can't even see it, because you have something that's worth in there. But brain-computer interfaces in the normal markets didn't have that until now. They all had like, oh, you want to make your brain better, or yeah, we can fix something that's wrong with your body. But that was all they offered. So that's basically what we're working on now, is on rethinking and showing people a different side of neurotechnology. That's where we are.
So you're focusing on like receptivity, like the receptors versus the stimulators, right? I would think eventually it's like going to be both, right? With this Black Mirror kind of scenario, we want to be stimulated as well as, sensed.
Yeah, I think for now we're still cool to use just the receptors, because we can still stimulate a lot based on what the receptors feel. So until now, gaming was a pretty one-sided effect. You were seeing something and you were acting through your hands, but your brain was not giving any sort of feedback. We can implement that in games. So there are use cases. For example, there's a game made by some researchers that if you are afraid, the game becomes harder, and if you are calm, the game becomes easier. That's a weird way to put it, but then it kind of helps you control yourself, right? There's also a game based on empathy. So if you're feeling kind of love or empathy towards the main character, then there's a storyline that is beneficial to the character. If you are not, then the character kind of goes sideways.
Wow. That's cool. I do think that's like the use case in VR is a pretty big one because like showing or like the ability to like show how you're feeling in your avatar, you know, if you want, like it's yeah, like I think that's probably one of the bigger opportunities I see. Like, I mean, obviously I'm biased because I love VR, but like like yeah, that's one I would really like to try.
And how far do you think that like we get to the market some early product for enthusiasts? Or is it like a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10? I know it's sort of like guessing. I just want to. You're the expert, so you probably have like the best guess from the people I know.
I mean, I can tell you from us, and I can tell you from Cortex Machina, which is another startup that is going kind of the same way, but they're doing a more do-it-yourself type of product. So they are saying they're a few months away from releasing something that can be used for gamers. I know they're not going to have the same spread of actions you can take with it, but they're definitely kind of starting to penetrate, just like I don't know, others, Neurosity Crown and others did before. Obviously, I wish them luck to kind of inspire people to believe more in this, so then we can take advantage of that. Because we're gonna, so based on the investments we get, the fundings we get, by the end of the year, we'll have a closed beta. And by the end of 2024, we would like to have a limited release, basically to make some noise in the market.
Oh, really cool. And what's like the range of the financial investment? So if, you know, for the gamer, I'm the gamer, I'm interested, I want to buy it. Like, you know, some range, is it like $500, $10,000, something between?
It would be like a premium VR headset right now. So it would be around, between, I'll say just that, premium VR headset. Because on the other hand, aside the neural technology, like the brain-computer interface, we want it to be an all-in-one product. So people can enjoy the pancake lenses and the full body tracking and so on, which are not hard to achieve. We just have to give a new value to it, so people are interested in it. Unlike the Vario, for example, which are more professional.
So it would be like part of the headset, you mean? So it would be like a headset with the neural interface?
Yeah, so can I still share my screen?
Yeah.
Did I share it?
I may have to stop sharing. Okay. Wait.
I mean, it's just this picture I wanted to show. This is a 3D render of it, and you can see here in front of the blackened glass, that's where the VR headset resides. And then on top of the inside of it, there are the electrodes. They are soft, dry electrodes, which means they are like small rubber brushes for the hair. So they go through hair and so on. And basically what we have here, because one of the challenges is to keep the electrodes in the same position so they don't get noise from noise artifacts. But thanks to the VR headset as it is, keeping the VR headset on your eyes will also ensure that we keep the electrodes in the same position. And then there would be a battery in the back for balance. And that's pretty much what we can show right now.
Oh, that's really cool. It's really cool. Great job. Great concept. Yeah, love it.
And the front LCD also, the front part also has like a low resolution LCD to show some cool stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. I love it in my head, and just as I was saying about imagination, that it needs to be followed by action. I mean, that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. Is there any more questions from people?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Where are you guys from?
Oh,
I was curious, why did we choose the the CET time zone?
Yeah, so I'm from Prague, Czech Republic.
Okay, I've been there.
Arthur is the same thing.
Yeah, Arthur is also from Prague. I'm from Spain, but I think we have a few people from the US as well.
Canada. I'm from Canada, but I'm living in France. I'm a Canadian. I'm
up in Maine in the United States.
All right.
I'm in Chicago, in the US.
Whoa, Michael Jordan.
Citizens of the world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we're all over the place. But it's nice that we make it this time because it works for both US and Europe. Because yeah, I know some other
not too late for you and
exactly.
Yeah.
I guess I have one question, I guess, for everyone before we close off. Is like, would you get a invasive BCI at some point if you could, or
no, never.
Is that a thing that
never? Yeah. If a cell phone can be hacked,
invasive would be a tough call.
Yeah, I would never do it.
I think I would. I would probably participate in testing if I could too, because I think the implications just for helping with paralysis and all sorts of things are just too large to be afraid, to worry about the downsides of it. I really believe in
I like
positive, that. I think that there's going to be so much good coming from all this.
I like it. We have to think of the positives as well.
Stake in,
Now it kind of made everyone who said no, they feel bad now.
I don't still feel bad. That's all nice and stuff. I'm not gonna put a chip.
That's also what. Yeah, I would be super scared, especially early like that.
But yeah, go.
Yeah, I think maybe but it will be really
I don't know. I just think how wild is existence already. Like this is already kind of terrifying, right?
Oh yeah. True.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the different perspectives. But I think at some point it will be just like getting laser eye surgery, right? It might just something as safe as that.
True.
I think
yeah, exactly.
But it will take a while for that, I think, honestly. So
one thing that I would be scared about that is that once you have something like that in your brain, you no longer can sort of trust 100% what you see, because what you see, someone can be changing that. Or giving you thought and
that is true, but I mean that's just one more step beyond deepfakes.
You become completely dependent on the medical system because your body will reject
and they're gonna have to figure out some way.
And for
I don't know if they will reject
electrode array.
You may need to replace it.
When you put an electrode array in someone's brain, how long is that gonna last? Until slip a little bit or something. He's gonna have to come back. And
they're all
takes away
with current technology.
In a sense,
I mean,
just another cog in the machine.
You're right, but it's also true that we're kind of.
Yeah, that's already here, so I don't know. I wouldn't see it like getting too much worse. But the thing that like right now, okay, like we might be living in the simulation, so everything can be actually like we are maybe in some matrix already, living in the tank and being used by machines for energy or something else, or food. I don't know. It can be true, but it doesn't feel like that. But as long as you know that you have something in your brain that filtering everything that can be filtering everything that you can see, that's sort of like I don't know, I would maybe like, because you know that, so
well, knowing it is better than not knowing it.
Yo, come on.
Yeah, I don't know. If you don't know it, then you're fine, you know. Okay, like it can be like that, it can't be like that, but no, you know. And then it's if you trust the person that's, you know, the company that actually runs the software, if they are not running some, you know, social experiments like Facebook did with people, like
they got caught,
feeding them stuff and see what happens.
Yeah, and in that case, it's also better to know whether you can trust them.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Now that you brought up Facebook, like, how much do you think? I mean, how much do you think we're already being affected by things? You know, like stimuli. We have like basically 5G everywhere, and our phones radiate into our brains. Like, I don't know if it's actual radiation, but it's definitely electromagnetic.
It is radiation, but it's
frequency,
not,
right? Like,
it's not powerful enough.
I mean,
no, but
it affects us, I think.
What you're saying, I think, because you don't have to plug in a wire to control other people. You can do it very well through, and I'm going to sound really old right now, but you can do it through media. You can do it through a lot of different channels to control people.
I mean, it is true, yeah. And we're already like dependent on technology. I mean, it's right that if we sort of get an implant, then you get like one layer more of dependence. Depends how you do it. You know, if you make it like biodegradable or something, so that it doesn't actually.
Hey man, if we
just go away, it doesn't matter.
Which our boy, Alex, bro, non-invasive way. That's the way to go, man. That's the way to go, man. You know what I mean?
But you know what you didn't say? You didn't say what that invasive implant would do. Because I mean, we only saw the negatives of it. It also, by the way, it can be hacked. So that's a really bad downside. But what would it give you? Like, would it give you like, I don't know, X-ray vision, or why would you?
So like you know, like I think the ultimate thing is like, imagine that you can like express your thoughts directly before they become even words, right? So that's the level of intuition I'm getting here.
It's called body language.
No, but you also have. I mean, body language is like very like low representation. But like, imagine like, for example, like you dream of like an image, like some like visual idea, and like it instantly appears in front of you.
Yeah, like in StarCraft, the Kala with Protoss race. It's just
that's true. Yeah,
super awesome. Yeah, but like the thing about the invasive things, like I still sort of like, if you have it in your brain, it's sort of always there. If I can pull it off, then okay, what I see is like the reality without it. No, it's like with it, and I'm in control. When I have it in my brain.
The truth is that if you study like physics and science and so much, like you realize that you cannot like really trust your senses without a deep understanding of what's really going on behind all the process of looking around. So like, and in basically I would just like add one more thing you have to keep track of in like understanding the world. But like, this is just like a fundamental aspect of reality. It's like we have like all sorts of experiences, and going from that to like actually know what truly is going on is like far from trivial, right? I mean, given that, like, it's also true. You know, we should, if this happens, we should really be safe and like have like really good security, because obviously, you know, like you don't want.
You'll have the window, computer interface machines, and then you'll have the Linux guys, and like there'll be like different operating systems.
Exactly. Like I think it's gonna be so awesome, right? It's like you have like some guys who have some custom like Linux kernel right on their brain, which like probably like makes them even more socially awkward, but at the same time makes them like able to like instantly like query like millions of like things and like get like answers for like some obscure like obsession that they're like really nerdy about. I don't know, like I'm just like you will get like also like really interesting like superpowers in people, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're the superheroes.
Yeah, but if everyone has
superpowers, what you were
no one has superpowers, right?
What if we all have different superpowers?
You were talking about trusting yourself. That's
Sorry?
cool. That's cool. You were talking about trusting. You can't really trust yourself, and that's actually a good point, because there's a brain signal that happens inside our brains. It's called a readiness potential, which starts 1 second before you actually make a movement.
Yeah.
So if you decide to raise your arm right now, your brain knows that, your mind actually knows that a second before, but your conscious you doesn't realize it. So there might be a lot of different stuff happening inside the mind, inside the brain, that we are not in control of, and we are not aware of.
So we can fix that with a microchip in the brain.
Yeah, that's also a good point, right? You could maybe like trust what you see more if you have a BCI analyzing your actual perception, right? So for example, it could tell you like, oh, what you saw was actually an optical illusion, like you didn't really see that.
Yeah, but then I'd feel like in dumb. It's like, hey, that's an optical illusion. It's like, bro.
Right, but like the truth is that that's very bad UX for BCI. It's the same thing like we're doing with AI. Well, most people with AI are doing very bad UX. The real good UX for BCI is like it doesn't tell you anything. You just feel it's wrong. It's like suddenly you have like a new feeling. Like that was wrong.
Well, I think
it's
like
feeling.
it would go like even further. So if it's like something that you see that is fake, then it will just delete it from your vision.
Or even that, you will.
Yeah, but then it sort of creates this other reality that you realize.
Right, but it could be like more real. For example, what if you could like decide? What if you could like decide to see like more spectra of light, or like see like electromagnetic waves, or for example, I mean, like we have all sorts of like cognitive biases, right?
Like implants like that would just not a microchip in the brain, right?
Like for example, what if you could like decide, ad blocker for real life? I don't want to see ads. They control like my psyche or something, right? Block all the ads from your vision if you want.
I always feel like, oh, I wish I never saw
that. Yeah, there's always pros and cons, and I think it will be cool to have the power to make those decisions, like what you want and what you don't want. Maybe like interesting thing also would be that like in that world, everyone is actually living in different world. So when we meet with each other, I will be seeing something different than you're seeing. I will see you physically different.
Potentially, yes.
Than I see you. And
actually, this will happen a bit with AR, and I always wonder like what will be sort of the social norms around. For example, what if I want to see you with a different body, than you yourself want to be seen as, right? Will that be considered like illegal or something? Yeah, exactly. Like,
I don't consent to that.
Maybe this will be like considered really rude or even illegal or something. I don't know. Like you have to see people with the avatar they want to be.
I want to see everyone as beautiful hot girls.
Exactly.
You're gonna be like shallow hell.
Shallow hell. Nice.
Yeah. I think it's crazy like how different all of us see the world already, and with all this technology being accessible to only like a very small amount of, the little niche group. I don't know. It's going to be so strange. It really is going to be like a different species at that point. I don't know. Like that kind of scares me a little bit. like having all these superhumans that are super fast, and then everyone else is kind of falling behind. And
oh yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. That would be pretty bad.
I think that with technology today, like people will rely more and more on technology, and they will have time to do other stuff. You know, like I don't know, sexy girls, art, all that stuff. But I think because people end up relying more and more on machines, they will need machines more and more, and some sort of unification, some sort of symbiosis. And I do think that's going to happen eventually. Yeah, the merge, the singularity.
What do you think about, like, just separate from technology, with your experience in meditation, just about the evolution of the psyche? Do you think that there's any, like, I don't know if you can even separate evolution from technology anymore, honestly. But I was thinking, like, there's this one guy, Montauk Chia, that talks about just, like, if we were to totally just nix technology and drugs and any kind of external help, we would evolve to be superhuman pretty quickly anyways, just based on the energy going around. Like, it's pretty far-fetched, but I guess when you think about, like, how monkeys on one island start, they'll learn to use a tool, and then the monkeys on the other island who haven't witnessed it will start to do the same thing, just based on, who knows what. Like, what do you think about that? Just like natural evolution of the psyche.
I definitely think that the pandemic had a global effect on people getting back to their minds and kind of reflecting what's inside there. It was a good opportunity for, like, this global type of awareness increase. And I also think that our minds, they give out different type of completely, like, it's all science based. It will be science based, but I think our minds give out different type of waves that we're not able to figure out yet. And with science, as it progresses, we'll see that there's a whole other type of, like, almost type of dimension that we're not taking into account. We just get glimpses of it from time to time. And yeah, I think that's where technology is going. And again, the merge is going to show that.
One thing I'm reminded of is if you look throughout the history of humanity, our actual minds are evolving with us. Maybe not on a physical level, but how we think. So I have this really good example about the saint. I can't remember the exact saint name, what his actual name was, but he became a saint because he was able to read a book without reciting it. So he could actually look at the book and read it in his mind, and then tell people what was in the book. And everyone was like, "Whoa, I've never done this before." So I think our minds are constantly evolving throughout time that we're not even. No, like, we're aware of it. And it's there. Like, when we lived in a village, for example, people didn't have names, and it reflects a lot in last name. You were the blacksmith. Or you were the village idiot, the butcher, but you didn't really have an identity or you had a social status, in a sense. So it makes me think about how our thinking will evolve with computers and technology.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's definitely, like, evolving already, right? Like, the ways we think versus, like, the previous generation.
Yeah.
Like
attention span. Yeah. For example, how it's actually being reduced now.
That's a good point.
That is an evolution in thought. It would be evolution in thought.
Yeah, maybe that's not like particularly forward, but yeah.
You see, with these non-invasive brain-computer interfaces, they require a lot of focus to use. So
that's a side effect, and I'm not. Yeah, I think, again, when you have a lot of focus, we are not used to having a lot of focus. I mean, even if before no one would spend, other than the Buddhist monks and stuff like this, no one actually being in a position of doing something materialistic in the society would spend hours of thinking of, I don't know, building Empire State Building like that. But if you do it through gaming, like if you do it from a different interest, I think it opens up different possibilities. And one of my first ideas was that when
being able to record or see other people's mind, manipulate what they see, what they experience. It's really neat.
Oh, wow.
I remember there
Maybe we
was a
should check it out.
Robin Williams movie where
That's also a very good
remember
one.
the name where like everyone records their entire lives.
Similar in theme.
Yeah,
Oh, what is it called?
I can't remember the name, but it was
Sounds like Live Forever mode.
Yeah, everyone's just recording their entire lives and yeah, you should see it.
I'll find it.
I have to actually find it. It was really good. Cause
I'm curious now.
Because that would be cool. Imagine being able to record your entire life, and then your whole family tree has a bunch of videos and that would be so awesome.
Well, or you can just like recreate yourself. That's what we're doing with Live Forever mode, right?
Or like
imagine
your son being able to see the last moment of your life before the stream cuts off. That would be crazy. That would really leave an impression. I don't know if
or like talk with like a hologram that like behaves and talks like
Superman's dad.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a good example.
That would be awesome. That's very. I'm really excited about what the future holds like humanity. With these technologies that are being developed.
I think the Robin Williams movie was the final cut.
The final cut.
Oh, the final cut. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, final cut with Robin Williams, and the other one, Anon, is with Amanda. Oh boy, hold on.
Man, we should have like movie nights for this cool like sci-fi movies.
Clive Owen.
Right?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, Wiffer used to do that. Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Yes.
Oh, we should try again. I think like we have some like interesting recommendations.
It's difficult with copyright, but
man.
I think we can work around some
just like stream enough time so that you can't really say who's like sharing what.
I think if you just change it a little bit, change the tint a little bit.
It's like when I'm remixing songs, you just put the vocals on a different like the backdrop is different, but the foreground is the same.
Oh, this is always done. Okay.
Jurassic Park / Bicentennial Man.
I mean, if you create your own video encoding, can you really say that what you're sharing is video?
Reverse engineering, baby. Awesome, Alex. Honestly, what you're working on is
thank you so much.
Exciting.
Thank you.
Exciting.
Well,
thank you for having me.
Yeah,
we're just close enough here, so
to meet you. I wish you Godspeed and infinite jest, vigor, and virality on your journey towards creating the human interaction system for us all. Godspeed, my friend.
Awesome. That's great. I'll give you the Spock.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Salute.
Oh man, that's like the one thing I can do with my controller. You're how about to. But yeah, thank you so much for coming. Hopefully,
guys, hold on. We're gonna have a group. So we're just gonna stand right here in front of the screen with Alex, with background.
Oh yeah, that's
Oldie, come on.
Oh yeah, and you could maybe close the share so we have Alex there.
Oh yeah, I mean then
over the whole thing.
He can't hear us, but it's fine just for the picture.
How can I put Alex? Come on.
Can you select this Alex?
I'm selecting Alex.
I think if he can say something, it will.
Yeah, maybe he says something.
Oh, photo, jeez.
Hey, there he is.
Yes, nice.
Okay. Alex, you gotta be like Singularity, here we come, so that it like switches over to the camera. Okay, hold on. Okay, go ahead. Okay, Alex, go.
Are you
Come
good?
on. Yeah, there you go. Okay, one, two, okay. Yeah, Singularity, here we come. Woo! Awesome, awesome. Thank you, wonderful viewers, for tuning in to Immersed Minds at Oasis Metagames. We hope you enjoyed this fascinating discussion with Gylifex
It's
and
been a pleasure.
Alex.
Nice to meet you, everyone. And
thank you so much.
Neural
see you
Echo
again,
Labs and
See you later.
working on some wonderful things.
Bye.
See you, Alex. We love you. See you, everyone.
Bye bye. Have a
And
good
we love you, wonderful
Goodbye,
viewers
everybody.
of the web.
It was awesome.
Mwah,
Bye-bye.
mwah. Peace. Have a wonderful night.